Okay, so the official title of this presentation is why being a web developer is difficult or might be difficult. As you can see, it's prepared in a very specific presentation tool, which is not a presentation tool at all. You're happy that you should be happy that it's not created in Vim or something like this. So I'm going to tell you a few reasons why it can be difficult and why it will be difficult for you. The first one is that your personal life will never be the same. And what I mean by this, it's like sometimes you can be, so excited or so into solving some problem that you just cannot stop thinking about this all the time. So just imagine yourself doing, I don't know, family dinner, like talking to your grandma, but like what is happening in your head, in your mind, it's basically all about code. Or you can start to wake up in the middle of the night and with brilliant idea and oh, I know how to solve it. I need to code right now. This is actually going to happen.
Has that happened to you?
Yes.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and sometimes in some very specific situations, you should not think about this, because sometimes it's even better to interrupt thinking about some problem and just do regular things. I don't know, sometimes I just read a book, and when you just free your mind of this problem for a while, it's somehow it can just come to you, the solution, and it's super nice. So you can spend hours and hours of thinking and nothing, and you're totally stuck. And then when you stop thinking about this, you think about simple stuff which is not connected with your problem, and then you're like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, it might work. And this is pretty nice thing at the end. And the next reason why it's super difficult to be a web developer, your mailbox will be constantly spammed. So you need to be prepared for all the messages from LinkedIn, recruiters, with, for example, I don't know, asking you if you're interested in some Java project because they saw that you know JavaScript, which is something super facepalm, really, you should be a little bit better.
Do recruiters actually understand that stuff, or?
It starts to change, to be honest. There are some things that like I said, when they have no idea what they are asking. But I think it's the awareness and the whole industry, it's there is less developers than it's needed. So it's super common that they need to send a lot of messages. They need to reach out to as many people as possible. But also we are getting used to it. So you don't even open those messages because you know that inside there's nothing what is interesting for you. So I think that they are trying to hire people. Hire recruiters who are who have bigger knowledge or teach them the basic ideas. So it's it's just easier than to find someone when you know who are looking for, right?
Yeah, all right.
And they just go online, skim for the description, and then just send it to you.
Yeah,
and you need to have a lot of context to understand coding.
Exactly.
So Emily, how do you usually handle such requests?
There's usually I just skip them. It's I'm pretty happy about my current job, so I don't really look for anything else.
All right,
that's probably why. But also sometimes when I see something really interesting in the title, or sometimes I just give a look entire email. And if they're like super like, I don't know, cool in a way, then I just answer that we might talk, but probably I will not be interested unless they have something super special about the project or whatever.
Okay.
Next thing, you will want to throw your computer through the window so many times.
Someone do that, and it's not because of coding.
Yes.
Google Hangout.
Yes, exactly.
Even you can be super frustrated, and I can show you like very nice GIF. It's a bit long, but the best thing is that this is actually the GIF from one of my PRs. So I spent, I don't know, like a big amount of time because it was super like new thing for me and also kind of complex, and like it was a big research first of all in order to do this. It was about upgrading some tools in our infrastructure. So it was like a month of research, of trying things, like a month of work. And then we realized that there is a brand new tool which was introduced like 2 days before this GIF was posted in my PR. So all my work was for nothing, like, because we could just use that tool and don't do it by ourselves. That was super hard, but in the same PR, I got another GIF, and that was the last GIF, because the end of the story is that we decided that it's still a mature tool, and we don't really want to be a guinea pigs for them. And it's better to wait until some other people try it out and then use this brand new tool. So that was the winning, and at the end I was super proud of myself. And I think this is how it works. Like, you can spend hours, sometimes days, and you can be super frustrated, and you really want to just throw this computer and just get out of there. But still you're coming back because you really want to solve your problem. And when it actually happens, like, the satisfaction is so great that it's worth all of this suffering.
Yeah, okay.
So, but anyway, like, if it happens to you at any point of time, it's better to actually not throw the computer through the window, because like when it's over, it might be useful. Buying a new computer every time it happens.
But just buy a bunch of computers.
Could you repeat?
I'm saying just buy a bunch of computers and be ready to throw them out one by one.
That's also the solution.
For backup.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can build, like, I don't know, like a few computers from the cartoon in order to, like, lower the costs. And when it happens, you can just pretend that it's your computer. Another thing is that most probably, because I think that working in IT is really connected with remote work, you are going to have friends so many kilometers away. So you can forget just, going out with your colleagues for a coffee. However, it also means that you can go for a coffee with your friend on other continent. And this is actually what's going to happen to me in Ariel in a month. We are going for a coffee in Vietnam.
Wow, really?
Where is that?
In a month, like, I'm going to visit him.
Okay.
It's also like, it's a kind of disadvantage to be far away from people with who we are working with, but it can be also an advantage. Another reason to like be very like careful with your decision about becoming a web developer and remote worker, it's that you can really, like, it can change your day in life, and you could start to behave like a caveman.
Yeah.
And it can really happen. Like, I mean that people need other people at least from time to time. However, like I would never trade my working remotely, like, you know, the option, like I can still come to some co-working spaces, to the office, I can have a hangout with someone. But if I don't feel like going out because I don't know, it's cold outside or it's raining, I can just work from my couch under the blanket or whatever, which is super cool to have this option.
Yeah, from the comfort of your home.
Yeah. However, like after I had like very intense year in terms of remote working. So for a year I was working most of the time, like even like, you know, 99% of the time I was working from home, and I was super tired after this time. Like, you know, the border between work and personal life was totally melted. And I really felt like, okay, I need to see some people because I'm going to get crazy.
Yeah.
But I didn't look like that guy.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I hope you didn't grow up here.
It's not based on my personal story, like it's
Oh.
someone else. I found it in the internet.
Okay.
And the last reason, you will never know enough. I remember myself at the very beginning, it was like, okay, so after 2 years or 3 years, I'm going to be, you know, such an expert. I will be confident and I will know how to do things. And it didn't happen. Like, and I think that it's not going to happen like anytime soon, because the more you know, the more aware you are that there are so many other things, and you can learn more and more. And even if you're like super bored with, let's say, one language, you can switch the language. There are so many possibilities. But again, I think that it's advantage, because you can, you know, you can feel this like excitement so many times. You'll never be bored.
Yeah,
And,
new technologies are always coming up, and there's always something interesting to learn. And
Yep.
I guess you probably love that part about your job, that you're constantly learning something new and interesting.
It's like, as I said, you cannot be really bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like if you don't switch like the language, or like for example, I'm working on one project for 3 years right now. And you know, you can just go deeper. Like at the beginning I was like super excited about doing new stuff, and right now I'm touching things like optimization, like, you know, working with like big amount of users. So it's also super interesting.
Okay, you get to look at other aspects of programming than just coding. Or what did you mean? Oh, okay.
I think it's also coding in a way. Like, you know, it's just the longer you're in the project, the more you care in a way, and the older the project is, the other, like, you're going to have some different problems. You're not just building like the UI and the backend. It's just you need to figure out a way for like DB queries to be like faster, because your user base is growing, and all of a sudden it's going to slow down. So you need to improve your code.
Yeah, to make
you cannot
things
just
more
leave it
efficient.
as it is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think it can be actually even more interesting than just building things. Like, more interesting. It's just different.
All right.
Yeah, like it's a challenge. It's another challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I hope
think
you don't
this is
optimize your code like this guy.
Sometimes it looks like this when you're like really, like when you have this flow and you don't really feel like the time is passing by, and just like it can look like this.
Oh, okay.
And I think this is it. I think we can just talk right now. I'm just looking, how can I stop it? Oh.
All right.
So is